So for question 9 we have, how would you name blank? There we are. So we have HBr04, KIO3, NABRO2, and HIO. So that IO is definitely going to be one of the trickier ones. And because I don't have all of these memorized, I'm definitely going to have to refer to a sheet. But with that being said, HBr04, as they show here, one of my colleges that I'm just going to refer to, I do see the beginning of it. It actually is a good idea to separate these by their anions and cations. So we have KIO3, NABRO2, and HIO. Okay? So with that being said, HBr4 is a hydrogen and BrO4. Okay? And I do actually conveniently have a list of ions we can refer to. Okay? Polyatomic ions. As soon as that loads, because this will be H and Br4 minus. We have K plus and IO3 minus. We have, just to make sure everything is, yep, we have Na plus and BrO2 minus. And then we have H plus and IO minus. So with that being said, let's see what we can find on our polyatomic ions list. So lucky for us, they were able to give us this nicely organized list of different ions. But unfortunately, it does not tell us about the ones we're looking for. So that's going to be a slight issue. But maybe we can find out what the name is based on the information we've been given through here. So that answer is no. We may have to refer to our acid sheet. Nice. So we have iodic, there we go, hypoiodous. But that just gives us a name, unfortunately. I would like to find out what just this IO minus is. So with that, we're actually going to refer to our colleague here because I am not familiar with the names of these ions. And with this, we're going to try to construct a way to learn how to name these ions. So per bromate, perfect way to start. Because I know BrO3, if I remember correctly, hopefully, should be, is there even a BrO3? Is there a bromate? There it is. Thank you. So bromate, BrO3. So there's different names. We have an 8 ending, which is considered the full ending. Then we have something that goes above it, where we have the per prefix and then the 8 ending still. Okay, and 8 means, I mean the per in this case means that we add, so it's plus 1 oxygen. So here's a neutral side. All right, and then we have a step down where it's called the ites. Okay, and that one is minus 1 oxygen. And based on this, if my theory is correct, I think when we do another step down where it's minus 2 oxygen, it has now hypo as a prefix, but it's still ite. So with that being said, let's see here. IO3 is iodate, perfect. BrO2, because I know BrO4 is perbromate, you can see how BrO2 is bromite. And now this is indeed hypoiodite, so this is perfect. Unfortunately though, this rule is when it comes to the ions. How can we now translate that rule to when it comes to the actual, I guess, not only acids, or when it comes to when they're bonded with other things? So with that being said, if we're dealing with acids, okay, still the same ish rules. Instead of an 8, we start at ic acid. Okay, we replace the 8 with ic acid. That's a neutral. And when it's one less, it's us acid. So like hypochlorous acid, for example, instead of hypochlor. Pretty sure I named something else. Instead of chloric acid, which is like ClO3, we have chlorous acid, which is like ClO2. Now, if it was, sorry, this shouldn't be black. This should be, if it went down, this is -1 oxygen. Goes down again. What is -2 oxygen? And what is +1 oxygen? Okay, that is the name we're trying to figure out now. When we do that, based on our acids sheet, if we look at ClO4, HClO4, which is perchloric acid, it seems to stick with the same prefix of the per, but instead it has the ic acid. Okay? And if we look at this and we look at HIO all the way down here that I spotted earlier. Nope, went too far down. HIO. Well, actually, HCl works perfectly fine in this case as well, because it says hypochlorous. So it looks like it still keeps the hypo, and it's still the OUS, but you still had acid. So these are the two rules I would actually try to abide by based on these molecules. So when you're dealing with things that aren't acids, you refer to this side here, the red. Okay, so let's actually answer the first question. We're given HBrO4. So that is now adding an acid, the proton, hydrogen, right, to BrO4. So we're going to refer over to this side, and that would be perbromic acid, it looks like. That would be the name. Okay? K and then IO3. So this is now potassium, but we're going to refer to the red side now. Okay? This would be a potassium, and IO3 is just the 8. That is the stable. And that's the tricky part here. You have to recognize it's not always a distribution of 4 and 3, or like it's not always going to be 3s or neutral. A great example is phosphoric acid. It's H3PO4. The important thing is that phosphate ions are PO4. That is their base. So like if it was possible, per phosphate ion would be like PO5 if it was possible. And trying to make sure I have the right word, phosphite ion, which I do see, is PO3. Point being is that the 3 or the 4 on the oxygen, they depend on what it's attached to. So I'll go and memorize the 8s, and then I would use this sheet to then figure out, okay, which one are they talking about? Because once you memorize your 8 and know what the amount of oxygens they have there, when you see different types or different numbers of oxygen, you can tell yourself which way to go, up or down, in regards to the name. So back to this would be potassium iodate, okay, because IO3 is the 8. And now BrO2, that one I remember, as we saw, I think, bromate is BrO3. So this is now bromide. So this would be sodium bromide, okay, because this is still referring to the red side. Now, in terms of the acid, we have HIO. And this one, even though we did find out on this sheet as well, we can actually say it would be hypoiodous acid, because it's lost 2 oxygens, because it used to be IO3. And I was sure I saw it on this sheet. There it is. Hypoiodous. That is the acid name. So let's see what our colleague did. So thank you again for him to actually be able to provide this. Potassium iodate and sodium bromide, we got those correct. And now for the name, we have perbromic acid, perfect, and hypoiodous acid. And that is what we should get. Perbromic, potassium iodate, sodium bromide, and hypoiodous acid. If you want to take a quick snippet of this table, I do believe it can come in handy when you do try to solve these type of questions. And I do stress that you have to memorize your eighths and your ick. Once you know what the base is, just what oxygens they're supposed to have, when they have more or less, you can use this table to navigate that name. So now, back to what we were doing. Question number